There is a version of your life that already exists. One where everything you've dreamed of, everything you've hoped for, everything you've quietly believed is real. It's not in some distant future. It's not locked behind some lucky break. It's there, waiting to be pulled into the present. But most people never reach it, not because they don't want it, but because they've never learned how to use the one tool powerful enough to unlock it. The mind. Your mind is the most advanced, most incredible force of creation you'll ever have access to. It doesn't just process what is. It creates what will be. The thoughts you repeat, the images you hold, the beliefs you strengthen, they shape your entire reality, not metaphorically, literally, because everything you experience, from the opportunities you notice, to the actions you take, to the emotions you feel, all of it is filtered through the lens of your mind. And when that lens is filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, you manifest a reality that reflects exactly that. You struggle, you stall, you wonder why things don't change. But when that lens is clean, when it's clear, focused, aligned with power, your external world begins to match your internal one. Suddenly people show up, ideas flow, energy shifts, and you're not chasing your future anymore. You're attracting it. That's the power of your mind. That's the reality most people never tap into. They spend years waiting for the world to change, hoping something out there will save them. But the real change, it begins inside, because you don't get the life you want. You get the life you believe in. You get the life your thoughts are aligned with. You get the life your energy makes room for. And that means this: if you want something new, you must first think something new. You must believe differently, speak differently, act as if the version of your life you crave is already yours. Because in the world of the mind, it is. And once your mind believes it, your actions begin to shift. Your standards rise, your focus sharpens, your energy aligns, and reality follows. But it doesn't happen by accident. It happens through intentional mental programming, through repetition, through visualization, through building a relationship with your own mind that's stronger than any doubt or noise the world throws at you. Most people don't do this. They let their mind run wild. They let it wander into fear. They consume negativity. They argue for their limitations. And then they wonder why nothing in their life reflects power, purpose, or possibility. But if you flip that, if you train your mind daily, if you discipline it, command it, lead it, then everything around you starts to respond. This is not hype. This is neuroscience. Your brain is designed to follow the patterns you feed it. Whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you repeat becomes real. Whatever you expect, you begin to act in alignment with. So when you start expecting greatness, when you start visualizing it, rehearsing it, speaking it, your brain begins to build it, becomes the dominant signal, and your life starts to mirror that. That's what it means to manifest a new reality. It's not about fantasy. It's not about daydreaming and waiting. It's about alignment, about taking command of the one tool that governs your focus, your emotions, your momentum, your mind. Because if you don't lead your mind, the world will. And the world doesn't care about your potential. The world will feed you distraction. The world will feed you doubt. The world will feed you other people's fears. But you don't have to eat it. You can choose different. You can choose to feed your mind images of victory, of strength, of peace, of power. You can close your eyes every morning and see the life you're building, not as some fantasy in the distance, but as a reality in motion. And when you see it and feel it and speak from it, your mind locks in, your nervous system responds, your body begins to act like it's already real. And guess what? Reality starts catching up. Because manifestation is not magic. It's not luck. It's not some cosmic gamble. It's a process, a skill, a habit. And when you master it, you stop being a product of your past and you start becoming the architect of your future. Because manifestation is not magic. It's not luck. It's not some cosmic gamble. It's a process, a skill, a habit. And when you master it, you stop being a product of your past and you start becoming the architect of your future. And that starts with the thoughts you allow to live in your mind. Every single day, you're broadcasting a signal, not just to the world, but to yourself, to your subconscious, to your nervous system. And that signal either says, I'm in charge, or I'm lost. It says, I'm building, or I'm barely surviving. It says, this is temporary, or this is who I am now. That's why you have to train the signal. You have to decide every day what kind of world you're inviting in, not just with your words, but with your emotional state. Because the mind doesn't respond to words alone. It responds to feeling. If you say, I'm powerful, but feel weak, the feeling wins. If you say, I'm abundant, but live in stress, your nervous system hears fear, not faith. So you don't just think, you feel, you generate emotion on purpose. You sit with your eyes closed and imagine, with intensity, what it feels like to live your new reality, to wake up in it, to walk in it, to breathe in it. And when you do that consistently, when you combine intention with emotion, your brain begins to rewire. It starts firing in alignment with your future, not your past. And the longer you stay in that space, the more the outer world shifts to match the inner one. But it takes discipline, mental discipline. It's not enough to think one positive thought in the morning and then live the rest of the day in frustration. Manifestation requires congruence. Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, all of it must be aimed in the same direction. When you align those forces, you become magnetic. You don't just chase, you attract. You don't just hustle, you align. You don't just work harder, you work deeper from a place of inner clarity and purpose. And that clarity, that's where energy is born. Because when you know what you're creating, why you're creating, and who you're becoming in the process, your body follows. Your motivation doesn't burn out. It builds because it's not external anymore. It's not about proving anything. It's about becoming someone you respect and you can trust. Someone who speaks from vision, not from fear. This is what manifestation really is. Not just thinking differently, but living differently. Walking into every room like your reality is already upgraded. Speaking to people from your next level, not your old one. Saying no to things that don't align. Saying yes to habits that bring your vision closer. And yes, people might not get. They might think you're being unrealistic. They might say, that's not how the world works. But here's the thing, the world doesn't work for most people. Most people are stressed, reactive, drained, and stuck. So if they don't understand your power, that's proof you're doing something right, because you're not here to manifest a version of life that looks like everyone else's. You're here to build something extraordinary, and extraordinary begins in the mind. So train it. Wake up each day and choose your reality. Don't just observe. Decide. Don't just react. Create. Before you let the noise in, let your vision speak. Before you scroll, before you reply, before you get pulled into 100 directions, lock in. Tune into your future. Speak from it. Think from it. Act from it. And when things go wrong, because they will, you don't collapse. You don't doubt the process. You realign. You remember who you are. You use the setback as feedback. You recalibrate your focus and keep walking, because nothing tests your belief like adversity. But if your belief is real, if your vision is clear, if your energy is strong, then even in the storm, you stay rooted, because here's what most people forget: the external world is always slower than the internal one. What you shift in your mind today might take weeks, months, or years to show up around you, but it will show up. The question is, can you stay consistent long enough for reality to catch up to your frequency? That's where most people fail. They plant the seed, and if it doesn't sprout immediately, they dig it up. But you water it, you protect it, you trust the process, you walk by vision, not by sight. And slowly, then suddenly, things begin to change. Not because the world got easier, but because you got stronger. Not because the world got easier, but because you got stronger. You didn't just think about your new life, you embodied it. You practiced being the person who belongs in that future. You didn't just talk about success, you trained your mind to think like someone who's already there. You didn't wait for permission, you gave yourself the right to become more. That is manifestation, not hoping, not wishing, becoming. Because when you become, you don't have to chase anything. You don't have to beg for attention. You don't have to force results. You operate at a different level. You walk with a frequency that demands alignment. And what isn't aligned, it falls away. That's how reality reorders itself around you. Not because the world suddenly likes you, but because you stopped shrinking to fit a version of yourself that no longer exists. You're no longer repeating the old story. You're writing a new one. And it's not based on your past. It's based on your power. You've stopped looking back for evidence. You've stopped measuring your future based on your failures. And now you're measuring it based on your vision. That's the shift. That's the doorway. That's how a new reality begins. But you have to keep showing up, even when it feels like nothing is happening, especially then, because the truth is everything is happening. Every moment you stay focused, that's momentum. Every time you speak from belief instead of doubt, that's energy shifting. Every time you respond with purpose instead of fear, you're moving closer to the life that already has your name on it. Most people quit right before it gets real. They break the pattern just before the breakthrough. But not you. You've seen what happens when you let the old mind win. You've lived the cycles. You've felt the emptiness of repeating a story that never leads anywhere. And now you've chosen different. You've chosen power, and that power isn't loud, it's quiet, it's focused, it's disciplined. It's the habit of reminding yourself every single day, I am building something that most people will never understand, and that's okay, because your future doesn't need their understanding, it only needs your commitment. So you keep visualizing, you keep writing the script of your life. You don't just think, you feel it. You don't just speak affirmations, you speak identity. You speak what you're becoming. You program your mind so deeply that even on your worst day, you're still aligned. Even when the doubt creeps in, your habits are strong enough to hold the vision. That's where true manifestation happens. Not in the highs, not in the excitement, but in the repetition, the unseen hours, the quiet commitment. You build it in the dark. And when it finally shows up, it won't be a surprise. It'll feel familiar because you've already lived it every morning, every night in your mind, in your breath, in your focus. And when you show up like that, when you live from the inside out, something miraculous happens. Your world starts to bend, not in huge dramatic ways at first, but in small shifts, random conversations, unexpected doors opening, new energy, new people, new clarity. And it all feels natural because you're no longer waiting. You're matching. You're matching the frequency of what you want. You're not hoping for change. You're generating it. You're not begging for results. You're preparing for them. Every action you take becomes an expression of belief. Every boundary you set is a declaration of self-worth. Every habit you commit to is proof that you're already walking in your new reality. And guess what? That's when the external catches up. That's when the success becomes visible. That's when the money flows. The relationships heal, the confidence skyrockets, not because you finally became good enough, but because you finally aligned with who you always were underneath the fear. This is not fantasy. This is power, and it's not reserved for the lucky or the chosen. It's for anyone willing to go inward, to take control of their thoughts, to rewire their patterns, to take full responsibility for their vibration, their choices, and their identity. Because the future doesn't just happen. It's manifested through focus, repetition, and belief.